I'm back with Q to talk about episodes 13 and 14. Let's start with the vote in the last episode before yesterday's episode. What did you get out of Dee Dee and Mike's pitches for themselves?
I don't feel like either of them had a pitch. I feel like they both kind of thought that they were going home. So Mike's, pitch was, it was nice knowing you all, and I'm going to cause as much chaos before I go. And then Dee Dee didn't really have much to say, I guess, beyond, throwing people under the bus. So.
Yeah, Days was really the one to drive this vote, and he did get the numbers technically. I mean, how did you feel about Dazed?
Yeah, he rallied the numbers. It was pretty impressive. I think that he really had one key player in that, the key swing vote, which was Aspen. And one thing about Aspen, she's going to turn on the blacks every time. So true to form.
There was an interesting conversation between Nab and Dazed and Dee Dee, where Dee Dee threw the matriarchy under the bus. Was that a good thing? I mean, at that point in the night, I think Dee Dee really thought she was going home.
Yeah, I understand the moves that you make out of desperation when you think you're going home. So while I do respect it, I actually think that it could have put her in more danger. Like, if I'm one of the guys and I hear that there's an all-women's alliance, I'm like, okay, well then that's all the more reason to vote you out and, make sure a woman finally goes home. So, while I understand it, I think that there is some potential for that to backfire on her.
Yeah, I am surprised Dazed or Nab did not really run with that. Monet, however, is the one that used the switch of vote to save Dee's ass here, because Dee would have been going home.
It is true. Yeah, Monet, she used her power well. I will say she didn't use it secretively, though. She very much announced it, and I think for some reason people just chose not to believe her. So.
Yeah, I think it's because they only think she has one power. So that's still something she did correctly.
Yes, that is true, that her little Easter egg worked. However, I'm intrigued by the fact that, the fact that Days was so adamant that she did not have a secret switch of vote, because she could have lied. And I even said earlier in the season, lie.
Yeah.
Tell them what you don't have, And so I don't know why Days just assumed that Monet was being completely honest with him and that there's no possible way that she could have a secret switch of vote. And that's just assuming that she only has one advantage at play to begin with. So, maybe a little short-sighted on Days' part.
Yeah, we'll get into that more here in a while. I will say, though, this is only the second time this switch of vote has been used correctly on this channel, so it's big ups to Monet on that, Rochelle being the one that used it first correctly. How did you feel about Leanna's HOH overall in the end? She's getting a lot of flack online about being messy, sloppy. I think you have the best word to describe her in power is reckless.
Listen, I think that on paper, Leanna makes good decisions. I think that this should have been a pretty straightforward vote where Mike goes home. And if we didn't have Aspen at play, flipping on Dee, I think that it would have worked the way that Leanna had anticipated. And so I think she deserves some credit for that. And then at the end of the day, she did get her target out. So I feel like if you are going to give credit for, switch of votes being played correctly because they were played successfully, then we have to give credit for Leanna getting her target out.
Yeah, but in this case,
it was successful.
Did Leanna get her target out, or did Monet get her target out?
Leanna got her target out? She quite literally broke the tie.
She did, but there would have not been a tie in the first place without Monet correctly using the switch vote.
That is true, but at the end of the day, Leanna put the people up, and she got her target out. So there has to be some credit for that.
Yeah, I think Leanna did get her target out when this time around. The first time around, she did not get her target out. But this time around, she did get her target out, and Mike Any other thoughts overall on that episode?
Well, I mean, are we going to go into the fact that Dazed won the HOH, or...
I mean, yeah, we can.
Well, yeah, I just was going to say that, it's really good that Dazed won the HOH. I think that this was the HOH that he needed to win, because who knows what, it would have looked like for him if he hadn't, so...
It wasn't looking good in some of those answers in the game that they played. I think Dazed definitely grew his target by trying to save the big target that is Mike.
I like the way that you did the game this season, because, in the past, you kind of get a chance to really think about it, and you get a chance to anticipate what you think other people are going to say. But I think by having people do it on the spot, they're a little bit more inclined to go with what they think rather than what the majority thinks, and so it's a good chance to see where people stand.
Yeah, hopefully some players got to see that this go around.
I think everyone saw that Fan Guy is paranoid and hates himself.
I think so. Well, getting into yesterday's episode, with DD throwing that information out, Dazed and Nav already know that there's a Girls Alliance. However, Fan Guy's been speculating on his own, so he kind of sees it too. So I don't know. Fan Guy's not washed up when it comes to seeing the chessboard. I think Fan Guy can see the chessboard very well. But yeah, how do you feel about the guys kind of seeing that maybe they need to work together? Sans Deleon, I suppose.
Yeah, they do. It's time for some of the women in the game to be put on the hot seat, especially considering that pretty much all of them except D have played really sloppy, borderline stupid games at times. So I think it's time for, and Deleon as well, I think it's all time for them to face the music a little bit. When you play messy, you got to be prepared to stand in the hot seat for a little bit.
How are you
Sit in the hot seat.
Seeing Dazed's HOH, snake around his neck, really?
Okay, well, the snake around the neck was a bit triggering, a la Rayleigh. Did not enjoy it. Also, him talking about how he, had been bit, it just made me think of her and having the snake in her hoodie. We don't need the snakes. No more snakes on this series. Enough. But other than Dazed's weird, snake bit that he had going on this round, I thought that he played it very well.
In what sense?
Dazed did a really nice job at almost like gaslighting people. He's like, listen, I'm gonna give you the chance to put yourself up. I want you, he's making the players do the dirty work, so that way at the end of this HOH round he kind of gets no blood on his hands. And I like that. I think that that's a very smooth way to play it.
There's something Patty and I discussed, though, in that is all these HOHs, sans Liana, we give her shit for being reckless. All the other HOHs want to play it safe, and they want to try and not get blood on their hands as best as possible. Does that really advance a person's game, though?
I said that Dazed wasn't getting blood on his hands, but I didn't say that this was a safe move. I think that going after powerhouses like Liana and messy players like Deleon who are actually skilled in gaslighting, I don't think that that's safe at all. I think a safe bet would be to put Alex up and to put Nav up or Fan Guy. I think that's safe. But I do respect that he's going about it without so much emotion and being as messy about it. So
yeah, I mean, he's definitely not being messy about it. But I feel like he's still being kind of laissez-faire about it. I don't really have a target. You can vote for whoever you want.
But I think the beauty of Dazed's HOH right now is that he kept saying 5 people. The 5 people that are going to all potentially be renoms or nominations are his targets. And so no matter the outcome, he will advance his gameplay.
I mean, I guess, but I feel like there's definitely some people that, if they go, helps his game more than others.
But I think the people that he keeps in the game solidifies his game more. Do you see what I'm saying? I think the people that he's keeping safe this round also advance his game, and that has to be accounted for as well.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, if he's keeping all these guys, this convenient guys alliance safe.
You want to argue with me so bad. You know Dazed's HOH Dazed is in a good spot right now for this HOH. I think he's in one of the better spots compared to the previous HOH rounds we've seen. I would say.
What do you mean?
Well, I would say that he's in a position where he gets to get one of his potential targets out without getting blood on his hands. And I think that to some degree, no matter who leaves, his game will be advanced, either because of who he protected or who he gets out. I think that Mike played a safe HOH, and that's probably why Mike is where he is right now, on the couch, watching washed-up players play. So
he brings in Monet, Liana, Delian, kind of saying they're kind of his three main targets. Should those be his three main targets?
They're not his targets, though, Nick. Those are just the people that are in the voting block that he's trying to break up. Which is fair. It is fair. That's a very diplomatic way of saying that I know that you hoes are all in an alliance together, and that you've been running the game for the past 3 HOHs now. I think that's a very diplomatic way of saying that we need to break up some of these voting blocks and really, level the playing field. So, nice job on Dazed. And, I don't like to give him too much credit now. But, he's doing the damn thing this round. So far.
Yeah, but something he's not doing so good at all is his stubbornness about this switch of vote and how it just could not exist. She only has a veto. Like, why is Dazed not connecting?
I am actually quite confused about it because when he had the conversation with Aspen, he seemed to know that Aspen voted for D.
Well, no, he didn't seem to believe her. I mean, she was saying that, but he didn't really believe her.
He didn't believe that Aspen voted for D.
No, you see, Aspen has become Aspen's game, thankfully, has become the boy that cried wolf. Mm-hmm. I think people don't know what to think of her votes. So, like, when she's lying, in this case, she's telling the truth, but they think she's lying. Dazed thinks she's lying.
I'm confused. Aspen, you're confusing everyone. I'm confused. Dazed is confused.
Did you get anything else from that conversation with Aspen?
She just be lying at the wrong time, and then po thing, even her Wi-Fi is sick of her. Her Wi-Fi was like, cut it out. We're done. We're done here.
Yeah.
So that didn't help her because she couldn't even plead her case. Aspen is a mess. She gotta stop with these lies.
This time the Big Brother gods were putting her in and out at the wrong time, unlike the first time, I guess. What about Dazed's conversation with Meg?
See, again, this is why I feel like Dazed is being very diplomatic and logical this round, is because he's giving people the chance to say, you're probably going to be a possible nomination, so I'm going to let you do this to yourself so I don't get my hands dirty. And it just so happened that Meg is kind of like a kid that fucked up, and she is waiting on her punishment. It's like when you mess up and your mom is at work and you know when she comes home she's going to beat your ass. Meg is waiting for the ass whooping. And I think that it was a lot like Dazed is the tired mom that's like, you know what? I don't even have the energy to whoop you. Just go put your phone on my desk. And I think Meg is like, you know what? I'll take this. This is a win for me. So I think she's just happy that Dazed didn't go in and tell her she's gonna get backdoored. But she might anyways, so.
Dazed was counting all of his possibilities in this chat with Meg.
You talking about Dazed throwing up them damn gang signs with them arthritic ass fingers? Dazed, enough.
He likes to count with his hands.
Everybody can't talk with their hands now. Put them hands down.
He doesn't talk with them, he just counts with them.
You look like Freddy Krueger with them damn fingers. Put them fingers down now. Enough. You about to get us flagged for gang content.
How about this new duo between Dazed and Nav?
I feel good about this duo, and I like the fact that Dazed recognizes that he may not beat Nav in Final 2. That is a very strong possibility. But I think that they have a good duo going. It's kind of weird too because I feel like as Mike left both the first and the second time, he tried to really get something going between Alex, Nav, and Fanguy. And now you have like a dazed Nav, Fanguy, Alex thing where the people that I think Mike would have wanted to protect the most out of that being probably Fanguy and Alex are very much at the bottom of that alliance.
Yeah, I mean, at least Alex recognizes that.
Yeah.
What do you really say this guy's alliance as? Is it just a 1 week thing? Because, I mean, Alex is already talking about how he doesn't like it.
I think it is temporary, but I think that right now it's good because the people that have been running the game need to sit in the hot seat and they need to be held accountable for how they've played the game so far. And so the people that have constantly been, I think Alex said it, there are certain people who have not seen the block, although Leanna has seen the block. Like, there are certain people who have not seen the block but have been running the game, and it's time for them to be dealt with. And it's time for the people who have seen the block constantly, which Nav hasn't seen it. Oh, Nav has seen it. It's time for people who have seen the block all the time. They gotta get some rest. Everybody deserves a week to relax, okay?
Yeah, this is Monet's first time nominated, although it's really just to flesh out her power.
Yes.
And then Leanna being the other nom. How do you feel about those two being the nom? The duo of Leanna and Monet.
There's a little bit of poetic justice in that.
In what way?
Kind of like, you know, they've played for each other, or at least Monet has played for Leanna, and now, you know, they have to go head to head. Which, you know, Monet does have her power, but like still, there's just a little bit of like poetic justice in seeing the two of them up together.
Is there anything else you want to talk about from this episode before your ups and downs?
We can actually just get to it. My ups and downs.
Okay, we will begin with Nav.
Oh shit! I didn't rank them all. Oops. Some of these are gonna be fresh. Nav is up.
Why?
Because Nav is thriving, okay? He is thriving in this temporary duo with Dazed. I think that similar to Dazed, no matter who gets nominated this round, his game advances. He benefits, and he gets no blood on his hands. He gets associated with this in no way possible. So Nav, I have going majorly up.
How about Meg?
Meg is very much down.
Why?
For a couple of reasons. First of all,
in the first episode, Meg's game was being dragged through the mud.
Oh yes, yes. I want to get into the fact that Dazed was like, I know that you're in 2 alliances, and she was like, 2? Which 2? I know that I'm in 1. I'm like, girl, 2 is modest because you're in about 4. Okay, it's the delusion for me. She was really upset at them little 2 alliances. And also just the way that, you know, Meg swear that she don't be saying shit that she know she be saying. Okay. I want whatever she's on this season. But Meg is down. She's down bad. And a little sick part of me would kind of like to see her. I would like to see her be a nom. I want to see her stressed out a little bit. But I don't want her to go yet.
How about Monet, who is on the block, but only, she has a power.
Yeah, Monet, I would put neutral because, again, I have this thing where if you're on the block, you're already kind of down. And, like, she is flushing a power, although I don't know how much longer she has on it anyways. But I think that this could, so she's down for those reasons, but I think that this could potentially be good for Monet because I think that this might scratch the itch that people have to, like, be vindicated, you know?
Yeah.
Like, she's been put up on the block now, she served her time, kind of like how Meg was awaiting her punishment. I think this is Monet's punishment, and I think that after she serves her time on the block, she pulls herself down. She may even potentially win the veto and have 2. You know, I think that Monet, she needs to go back under the radar, and I don't want to hear from her till about the final 4.
We've seen her do that already after her HOH.
Yes, so I'm honestly a little tempted to put Monet up, but I'll put her neutral.
How about Leanna?
Leanna is down. I think we might be seeing the beginning of Leanna's descent. If she doesn't win this Power of Veto, she's out. But as Fanguy alluded to, Leanna knows how to win when she needs to win. So, never underestimate Leanna's preparedness.
Also, let me just say this for Leanna and Days in the comments. If you're going to bicker with each other in the comments, talk about the present and the past and not the future, because I'm tired of deleting comments. Thank you. How about Aspen?
Aspen's down. What's new? I mean, do I have to explain it? She's down.
The girl who cried wolf. How about Dee Dee?
Dee Dee's up. Dee Dee is... People want to protect Dee Dee. And it's very strange to me. I think Fanguy said it very nicely that part of the reason... I could be misinterpreting this, but part of the reason why he doesn't really jive with the all guys, all girls... Like, the all guys going against all the girls is because, inherently, some of the guys have girls that they want to protect, and some of the guys have girls that will protect them. And I think Fanguy is a prime example of that, where a woman protected him. So, but anyways, going back to that, I think that Dee Dee is benefiting from the fact that Days has a crush on Dee Dee, first of all. And,
I don't think Days would deny that.
Oh, yes, he'd be all up in them comments, and I'd be waiting for D's Q, to come be like, all right now.
Well, Days wants a throuple, I think, honestly.
Him being that snake?
Well, I don't think Dee Dee would go for that. How about Fanguy?
Fanguy's up. I think Fanguy is also insulated by this little Dazed Nav. Oh, I ranked Nav twice. Fanguy is insulated by this little Dazed Nav D, although he doesn't like it, Alex thing that's going on. And I think that Fanguy does kind of know that within that he's also towards the bottom. But for right now, he's doing all right.
How about DeLeon?
DeLeon is down for me. I'm really not satisfied with how DeLeon's playing. And I know Miracle, she gonna eat me up in them comments. I'm sorry, girl, but I'm gonna have to come out. This is no longer a DeLeon stand count. You know he fucking up. DeLeon is not very in touch with the game. And what's annoying about it the most is that I feel like he thinks he is in touch with the game, and he's very vocal. Like, he loves to tell people how they voted and, where the numbers are going, but he didn't know about this whole ass women's alliance. I feel like he's rarely ever in any, one-on-one chats. I feel like I really only ever see him, and I don't know if that's just, a schedule conflict thing, but I feel like I mostly only ever see him in the backyard chats, and with that, you're not going to get much alliance talk anyways, because that's kind of just anybody can come and go as they please, right? So DeLeon just does not really have his, like Leanna, he doesn't have his hand on the pulse of the game a lot to me. And I think that it's coming back up to him. I also don't like how he's leaving it up to Days to be like, I want you to do whatever you want to do. Like, no, DeLeon, right now is the time for you to be like, I want the opportunity to play the veto. Give yourself that chance, because there's a very strong probability that you're going to get backdoored, and depending on who you're up against, you're going to go home.
How do you, why do you think DeLeon is such a big target for Days? I mean, it's because obviously the whole little him versus DeLeon, the get out Mike thing. But, there's also this women's alliance. Should a priority be what Nav says, get a woman out, or should Days put DeLeon on the block?
I think that Dazed put it very eloquently when he said that there are voting blocks. And one of those voting blocks I hesitate to say this. One of those voting blocks is the All Women's Alliance, even though we the viewers know that is not a voting block at all. But I do think he being Dazed is accurate in that there is also a very strong voting block with Monet, Liana, and DeLeon. So I think that even if he targets one of the three of them, which he's doing, he's going to break up that voting block. So I think that targeting DeLeon still advances his game.
Yeah, I do think DeLeon is one of the people that would actually advance today's game. Mm-hmm. As with Liana. How about Alex?
Alex, I have for you, Alex, going up. Because, although he's at the bottom, he is, for this week, benefiting from, the alliance with Dazed, Nav, and Fanguy. But he even kind of alluded to it, or you alluded to it with the Liana nomination, that may not be the best for his game. And, Liana, I feel like, is the only person in this game that is willing to protect Alex. And so,
outside of DeLeon.
Again, DeLeon he's just never in enough chats for me to even get like a strong sense of, I don't know. So, yeah, Alex is slightly up from neutral.
Only slightly?
Slightly.
How about, lastly, Dazed?
Dazed is... he's up. I think that this HOH will either really put him in a good spot where, again, he's going to get a major target out without getting too much blood on his hands, or he'll get like a medium target out and keep someone that will hold it against him. I don't know if that makes any sense. Dazed is like, kind of like Alex. I feel like he's slightly up from neutral. But I do think he's playing his HOH well. I just feel like, I don't know, we've seen it now. If you're an HOH, the next week you're going to be a target, because you're going to piss somebody off no matter how diplomatic you try to be with these things.
Yeah. So. I mean, I think he's playing his HOH mediocre. I think he is... I mean, I think we disagree on this, that he's not playing it safe. I think he is playing it safe. I don't think you can come and say, I have 5 targets. That's not playing it aggressive like I think some HOHs need to be.
Okay, so we need to make up our mind. Do we want people to play sloppy, messy HOHs where they have hoitis, or do we want them to be diplomatic?
I mean, I think you could find a balance. I think there's definitely a balance. I think where Liana goes wrong is she doesn't communicate who her renom would be in any situation. She refuses to communicate anything about a potential renom. She doesn't discuss that with anybody, and so then she just blindsides people and it comes across as reckless and sloppy. Whereas I think Dazed is the kind of person who likes to map out every single detail that I feel like it doesn't actually benefit him. I just don't think all of his 5 targets benefit his game. I really don't.
Well, how the turntables turn that I am now defending Dazed.
I know, right?
Next week, I'm going to have Aspen up. You keep it up.
How many times have you defended Dazed now? 3, 4?
I think about 1, 2 maybe. About 1, 2, 3.
Also for Dazed HOH, he has to come to the conclusion that there was indeed a switch vote.
Yeah. Dazed gotta chill with dying on hills.
Yeah, that is a problem. All right, anything else? All right, until next time.